a presentation by talking about why I got into this, right? Um, Many years ago, while I was a student, I was never introduced to library. I was not asked to go to a library to find a book and uh, know anything beyond the regular textbooks. So, and later when I started learning to find books, buy the books. Yeah. So when I started learning how to find the book which is right for me, and started buying the books and started enjoying them, I started asking myself why I don't find lot of literature related to my own language. And then I got myself involved in a lot of FOSS communities, started finding out how to type in Kannada, how to build solutions, how to find the issues, and how to get it resolved, because I'm a system admin myself. And that was the start to start contributing to FOSS. And from there, I've come a long way. So last 15 years, have been a lot of different initiatives that we started. And recently, I'm on a mission to start scanning everything that is possible and which is out there in public domain. And one of the sayings from my mentor, my colleague, my partner, Karl Muhammad, as he says, scanning is the new spinning. So he has been making a lot of law-related content available for public across the globe, and he has been digitizing Indian literature and making it accessible to public as well. I met him in Church Street, and I found him buying a lot of books and taking it to US and trying to get them digitized. And when I met him, I was telling him what we are actually doing with respect to language tech here in India. So I built a collective to digitize Kannada literature and make it accessible to public. I wanted people to know how our language words were created, in which literature, in which era it was actually used, and things like that. It was not very easy for people to understand how the literature really created the social movement, especially in 10th, 11th, and 12th century. We have literature which actually started to talk about religion and social equality and other things. Many of you might know about the very interesting line from Basavanna, work is worship. So did Basavanna really talk about worship or work, or is he talking about religion? So this was the question which people wanted to research, and they found it very hard to go through the large amount of data that we had from those centuries. So we digitized almost 25,000 vachanas, made it accessible to public from one of our tool online. It's called Vachana Sanchaya. And we didn't wanted people to be stopped because of the technical difficulties, right? We did not expect them to know how to type in Kannada. We wanted them to just click on a word, find out in which vachana or a poem that word was used and how many times it was used. Just by using those clicks, they could actually figure out how the literature had made a difference in the society in that era. Later, we started digitizing a lot of art, history, and culture related content. We started setting standards to create digital content online. So back in 2010, 11, 12, we didn't have too many people to create Facebook Reels and stuff like that, right? So it is easy to create those videos and make it accessible to public today. Back then, we had very few people doing very serious documentation. So we built Sanchi Foundation. We created a lot of Yakshagana related content. We worked with Neenasam to document how a theater works, how theater actually teaches art, history, and culture, etc. We made them accessible to public through Creative Commons licensed content. Then later, while one side we actually started working on audiovisual content, and on the other side, we started building the lexicon, we started building a lot of digital content for Kannada. And meanwhile, we also were working on making Digital Library of India content accessible to public. We created Pustaka Sanchya. Even today, we really don't have an authoritative index which gives a list of all the books that have been published in Kannada so far. So we started creating that with the help of Digital Library of India content, and then we crowdsourced the data to be typed in Indian languages using Unicode. Now, why I was actually doing all this is because when I started editing Wikipedia in 2006-7, I never used to find too many books online, or it was very difficult to find references for anything that I wanted to contribute. So that's where my search for books started. In 2019, we started digitizing a lot of books through the collaboration of Internet Archive and Public Resource, where I met Carl Malma that found that one of the Internet Archive's scanner was kept in Indian Academy of Sciences, and it was not being used. I requested, can we, as a community, use that resource which is lying there and digitize out of copyright books? And he readily agreed, and he was happy to collaborate with us. And we spoke to Indian Academy of Sciences, and they allowed us to use their space, and we started scanning quite a lot of books. And within a span of 2 years, we were able to scan around 17,000 books in 14 different languages. And we contributed not just the scans, we worked with Internet Archive to get those books OCR'd with Tesseract and Google Vision API. So now, all these books are searchable, and you can see what is really there in all these books very easily. So the journey continued, and now Kannada and many other languages have thousands of books, which people find as a huge resource on internet to see how the literature has come a long way. We digitize audiovisual content, we digitize old books and magazines, and it is not just that. We actually got to do a lot more than that. We are revisiting our literature, and we started learning about our authors, publishers, the way the print technology evolved, the way the fonts changed over the period of time, and we started finding very interesting stuff related to dictionaries. So a lot of our old books used to have a last page wherein they used to give the glossary for the book also. So it used to make it easier for the reader to read that entire book. So we started finding them, and it has started fueling a lot of other projects we have done around FOSS. And yeah, as I said, the lot of new possibilities have opened up. And one of our initiatives, which actually indexes all the Kannada books, now has more than 25,000 books indexed. And people can actually at least find out if they are already digitized. If not, they will at least get to know who was the author and when it was actually written and who published it. So they can go back to the library and find that. So this is how the entire thing happened. I already narrated how we actually started our operations on Servants of Knowledge initiative. The Hind Swaraj collection on Internet Archive and Public Library of India collection on Internet Archive throws up a lot of content that all of you might actually love to read. So this is one of our powerhouses. We got 3 of them from Internet Archive, and I ended up building 7 more of them, and that was the video that you are actually seeing. My team today scans almost 1 million page per month, and we at National Law School, and we are trying to make the content available for visually challenged and researchers in the coming days. So we have this next 1.5 year mission to make the entire National Law School content available for researchers in-house within the campus. So apart from that, so this is what has happened so far with Servants of Knowledge. We started in 2019, scanned 20,000 plus books. Then we have more than a dozen of authors and publishers collaborating with us to re-release the content in Creative Commons license. So I started talking to people about copyright and the licensing of content. It was very important because we found that not many people or not many authors were ready to learn technology and come on Wikipedia and contribute about our history and stuff like that in our local languages. So we wanted them to see how open content actually makes a difference. Okay? Back in 2010, when I met one of my co-founders and his father, they were already releasing a lot of scientific literature written by their grandfather, G.T. Narayan Rao, the guy who actually created the first Kannada science dictionary, and they were making all his content available for public. We said making content available for public is good, but not good enough. We want to tell them how to reuse that content, how to make it accessible to much more people. So we requested them to look at the possibility of licensing the content under Creative Commons, share alike, and no commercial licenses. And they immediately agreed, and that's how we got the first contribution to Creative Commons from a publisher himself. So later, many of the science writers and the very well-known names have actually contributed to us. We have Navakarnataka, who actually gave us 20 years of their magazine collection to us. We digitized 50 years of Kasturi magazine, which is known as Reader's Digest of Kannada. So Kannada Reader's Digest Kasturi was started publishing even before the English Reader's Digest came in existence. Okay, and now we have Ninasam's Matukate made available online. So like that, you find a lot of literary content available on internet, not just in Kannada, but also in all other 14 languages. We worked with Raja Muttaya Research Library, Chennai, to digitize Tamil books. We work with Vijay Konkani Center, Mangalore, to digitize a lot of Konkani. I met someone in the conference yesterday, and I told him we have more than 3,500 books from Konkani available online. So you can actually check that out. So more than 60% of the work that we have done is in local language, and just under Servants of Knowledge collection, we have 2.5 million pages made available as open content, and all of them are scanned in the respective languages. So we could actually do that with the help of the initial research that we did with Sushant Sinha from India Kanun, who worked with us to test Google Vision API initially, and then we realized that Tesseract is doing pretty good job. So Internet Archive agreed to change their underlying OCR technology from ABI to Tesseract. Now, if you upload any book and contribute as a community member to Internet Archive, it gets OCR'd automatically. So you can find that more useful for you. So whatever content we have created, we have seen that millions of people have already downloaded the books and started reading it. So stats talk a lot about it. And yeah, as I said, we are currently scanning almost 1 million page per month at National Law School. And in near future, we hope to see a lot more visually challenged people trying to access law-related content for research purpose. And this is the type of content that we have made available for public and a lot of students and researchers. I get a call from remote places of Karnataka. Like last week, I got a call from a teacher from Bagalkot. He says he found so many literary content which he could actually show it to his students in his classroom, which is already equipped with internet and many other e-learning tools. And he was able to show all this. And he was also requesting us to see if we can point them to the right collections where they can use that as a educational material. So we have science, history, art, literature, classical text, newspapers, magazines, dictionaries, and so many more things on this. So these are some of the very interesting science books and other things we have found. And we were also able to showcase one of the coastal women author and her contribution to the literature widely to the public. And she is still with us. She is around in her 80s. She recently wrote her new novel, and the amount of content she has actually contributed to Kannada was mind-blowing. So people are now working on her work and doing PhDs around her literature. So why I pursued? So as I mentioned, there were no verifiable resources in my language. So I started finding resources to start with. There was a lack of open content. There was lack of understanding of copyrights and copyleft, public domain content, and licensing. So wanted to introduce people to that. And the need of standardization. We just don't scan books. We scan the books as a first level work. We digitize it by using the technology. We do OCR, and we make it accessible to public. And we also work on a lot of metadata. People don't really have to know any of my work or my community's work. They really need to know that the book or the content is out there on the internet. You search for that, you should get it. Until then, our work won't actually get over. So we wanted to use the standardization, use Unicode content, multilingual indexing, and metadata to make content accessible to public. And we needed more collaboration. So working on language technology projects is not easy. To keep people together and make them work along with us, it is very important to see that we create a lot of opportunities for people who and show them the interest areas that they can actually find within the projects. So to do all that, these things work. And how we source the books? We source the books through you. I have a very interesting screen, the flyer put up on the portal, the board there outside. So we requested people to take out the books that are there in their attic and see if there's any public domain content out there and provide us so that we can make it accessible to public. And we collaborated with authors and publishers. And we also source public domain content in various libraries, online sources, and see if we can do further collaborations. And we are also requesting libraries not to weed out books. In India, we have a lot of libraries who simply throw away their books and give it off to somebody if they don't want to keep them. So that way, we have lost a lot of our Kannada literature, and we don't find it anymore today. It is there only with some people who are really interested in that type of content. So we worked with CFTRI Mysore, and we got 3,500 books shipped from Mysore to Bangalore, and we started scanning them. Today, we find that Smithsonian University and many other universities are harnessing the data from that, and even including the Kannada content that we have digitized, and they're creating the dict out of that for fauna and many other content, open data that they're actually creating. So metadata management is one big challenge. So I already spoke about it. So we not just scan, but we also say that the book belongs to specific subjects, and it helps people to do better research with the data that we have along with that. So this is almost the end of my talk. So these are the challenges that we face, and we want people to use these books as references for wiki projects, contribute to the metadata, and also work with metadata team from Wikimedia Foundation to add our authors, books, and publishers' data so that people can easily find them, and help us find a lot of PD books, public domain books, and finding copyright holders. This is one of the toughest challenges that we actually have with Indian books. We don't have ISBN numbers, and the ISBN numbers that we get, even I work as a publisher, so it is so difficult to convince somebody to have a ISBN number, and finding Indian ISBN numbers on Google is so difficult. So we need support in resolving that. Convincing people to re-release the content in Creative Commons license in case they want to make content available for public, release it under a license so that we clearly know under what terms we can use that content, right? And we are also working on building revival fonts. We want to be able to read the content in all the books that we have been scanning through the fonts or Tesseract or OCR technology. So we are working on building that. And we are also trying to see how we can actually contribute back to Tesseract by providing more trained data. And we need a lot of support from the community members to build tech, and we need to build collaborations. And we also need a lot of generous partners to find and fund the open knowledge initiatives that we have. And yeah, so this is where we are. We are at National Law School. If you are somewhere near National Law School, please do visit our library lab. You can find my team working there daily. We scan around 50,000 pages per day. And Vishwakunkani Center has a scanner, and we have trained their staff to scan the books. And we used to work with Roja Mutaya. Now we are not there, but yes, we would be happy to work with any language community to digitize their public domain books and make it accessible to public through Internet Archive. So these are some of my affiliations. I created a collective called Sanchaya and created a foundation called Sanchi Foundation with a couple of my founders. We digitize audiovisual documentation and make it accessible to public under Creative Commons license. And I have a startup which actually helps nonprofits and people who actually want to take their work into the shelf through print on demand. We do publish books. We support people who actually want to use self-publishing platforms for local languages. And yeah, that's TechFizz. And you can check out many other language projects that we have done in Canada on sanchaya.org and sanchifoundation.org. And yeah, that's me. So I have been contributing to FOSS from last 15 plus years as a Wikipedian, Mozillan. I did the translations on MediaWiki, TranslateWiki, and worked on a lot of language tech projects. Now I'm working as an archivist, and I also authored a book on Creative Commons in Canada. That's it. Thank you. So I'm open for questions if you have any queries on our work while you look at some of the dictionaries that we have actually scanned. So sadly, none of our Kannada projects have been funded so far by anybody. My wife, my couple of other colleagues have supported the initial language tech projects that we did. And we did this sort of passion for most of the stuff. Currently, from the time I actually met Carl Malamat, and he has actually supported us by providing us the hardware that is available. And initially, Indian Academy of Sciences, Rajamutaya Research Library, and Vishwakunkani Center gave us space, and at times even helped us with some resources, human resources, to get those scans happening, right? And I volunteered for most of the training and day-to-day management of all this metadata and stuff. Even today, I'm the only guy who actually maintains the complete Kannada metadata management on Internet Archive. And the current National Law School digitization project that we are doing is funded by public resource, and my company actually takes care of the management of resources and the tech. And the scanners that you actually saw earlier, they were actually built by us. 3 scanners we were able to get from Internet Archive, and 2 had its own challenges because it was very difficult for us to get the approvals to get those old scanners released from customs. So we had to struggle for almost like 1.5 years to get them released from customs, and Carl was kind enough to take all the burden. Once it came, I said, no, we should actually do something about building these scanners right here in Bangalore. And now we are equipped to build any of these scanners in very short time. Maybe like a couple of weeks, we can actually build another 4 or 5 scanners and expand our this one. The challenge is not about building the hardware or putting all the hardware together, but to drive the resources who actually do the scans for us. So I could actually do 800 pages per hour when I first assembled this particular machine. But it is not such an easy job to scan thousands of pages a day, because once you find a book which is very old, which needs to be carefully managed, okay, it is very, very hard to actually work on a digitization or archival project like this. So to keep them motivated and ensure that we don't have issues with cameras, and we actually use a pedal to lift the book up. So we have issues with the cables getting cut and things like that. So that is the type of work that actually goes into it. Scanning it looks so easy. I said it is like new spinning, but it is not that easy like spinning. So it is much harder than that. And we don't really want to like automate it, because we cannot actually put the old books into an automated process. It really requires human beings to ensure that we preserve the knowledge for tomorrow very, very carefully. Yeah. Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much. I would be happy to meet you people outside, and we can show you the type of books that we have. And I have carried some of the very old library dictionaries that we have got from for people who are interested in Asian languages. Happy to talk to you guys again. Thank you.